Hey, welcome everybody. Great turnout. Really, really happy to see you here. This is Enlightened Vibes. I want this to be just a casual place where you can hang out, open your mind, and explore different ideas of enlightenment. Today actually is a special version of Enlightened Vibes because we're going to dive specifically into the abundance blueprint. So between the abundance blueprint, which I'm going to share today, and the thought matrix, which I'm going to present next week, these are tools that you can use to connect directly with your subconscious mind, both to change your wavelength from the inside, and by changing your inner wavelength, your inner thoughts, your inner values and principles, the way you go about in the world, you're going to start to attract differently in the outer world. And these tools are intended to bring you peace, abundance, happiness on the inside. So you're in the right place. Just enjoy, take good notes. And today, as I said, we'll specifically talk about the abundance blueprint. My goal for today is that each of you will walk away with a personalized blueprint to address or improve or solve any problem or improve any area of your life that you want more abundance, that you want to be happier about, whether it relates to your health, your relationships, your purpose in life, whatever it might be. Today, we're going to dig in and we're going to do some breakout sessions, and we're going to each of us form your own abundance blueprint. So let me give you some background. I've studied 6 different systems of enlightenment, really specifically, really studying them deeply over the last 15 years, which coincides, by the way, with when this enlightenment information became available on the internet. And a lot more books were written about these ancient systems, and a lot of so-called secret knowledge was actually posted on the internet. So I've been able to gather all of this and study. Rather than get deeply into any one system of enlightenment and understand the language and the customs and all the procedures, rather than all that outer stuff, what I've done is study these systems of enlightenment and pull out the jewels, the pure essence of each enlightenment system, and then create new ways to think about enlightenment in the modern world. So the 6 systems of enlightenment that I have studied are Vedic systems of wisdom, Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, which is its own branch and it's different enough to warrant its own study, the Tantric Yoga, which comes from Kashmir, the non-dual Shaiva Tantra teachings of Abhinavagupta. I've also studied Taoism and the Egyptian systems of enlightenment, and unfortunately the Egyptian systems is extinct at this point. But if you're in any one of those systems, it's not my intention to say you should get out of those systems. I just didn't jump into any one system. I didn't get into 20, 30 years of tradition and learning the new language and all of that. But if you have, I don't want to discourage you. Stay in that system. And what I'm going to share with you in my teachings is going to add to your enlightenment. It's just going to add to it. Or if you're in one of those systems and you're not quite getting the results that you want, take a look at what I have to offer. Rather than getting into any of those systems, what I've done is pluck the jewels, the essence of the enlightenment, and create what I call these 7 paths. Because all of the wisdom can be applied to one of these paths. First is the path of health, the path of balance, inner peace, the path of inner radiance, where you invite energy and light into your body, the path of moral character, where we'll meet people like Marcus Aurelius, Martin Luther King, many other people who focused on developing values and principles from the inside, the path of kindness and generosity, which you may call the path of compassion, so we can learn how to help other people, and then the path of conscious creation, so you can learn how to change your own life, not just be enlightened for no purpose, but become enlightened so you can start to improve your own circumstances and start helping the people around you. It's called conscious creation. And then a 7th path, which is kind of separate from all of them, which is the 7 levels of light, which is really one of the highest teachings of enlightenment. And we'll do that just as a separate path. But today, I want to talk to, not only today, but over the next couple of weeks, I want to specifically focus in on the path of health, the path of balance, the path of inner radiance. Those 3 paths are all interrelated. They'll help you go about differently in the outer world. Like we're going to develop new health habits, a completely new understanding of health. And I'm not talking about health like push-ups and sit-ups. I'm talking about health at the energetic level, raising your vibration, raising your vibratory health at the cellular level, deep enlightened teachings about health, the path of balance, which is about establishing a sense of inner peace, a meditation routine. You'll all find that in the path of balance. In fact, last week in Enlightened Vibes, we specifically talked about the first 3 steps on the path of balance. And then the path of inner radiance, which I'm really interested in. I'm actually starting to write a book on that, and I want to teach that so I can make the book better. But also today, we're going to bring in the path of conscious creation. And as I said, I'm going to share with you 2 tools that allow you to directly connect, program, reprogram your subconscious mind. The abundance blueprint, which we'll talk about tonight, and the thought matrix, which we'll talk about next week. The thought matrix, of course, I presented in the book, The Cycle of Mind. So without further ado, let me start sharing some highly enlightened teachings about mind, because mind is the focus of tonight's class. So the first teaching I want to share with you is that subconscious mind is the unyielding power behind the universe. I'm going to repeat that. Subconscious mind is the unyielding power behind the universe. In other words, when something is deeply embedded in your subconscious, it happens. The universe responds to subconscious mind. The outer manifestations that you see are an outer matching of subconscious mind. So our goal with the thought matrix and the abundance blueprint is to put new thoughts into subconscious mind. And when they percolate and become deeply held in the subconscious mind, the universe can't help but respond to that. It's the way it works. And if you learn how to engage this power properly, the power of mind, your experience immediately begins to change. Some of you will notice changes immediately, in hours, in a day, in 3 days, in a week. You don't have to study this stuff for years and decades to start to see changes like some of these other enlightenment systems that take you decades to see results or to become an expert at it. You're working with the most powerful force in the universe, subconscious mind. And as soon as you begin this practice, you're going to notice almost immediate changes in yourself and in the way the world responds to you. So the abundance blueprint and the thought matrix are tools that I'm sharing with you that allow you to shape, mold, and direct the power of mind exactly to your desires. Now, the next teaching that goes along with the first one is all beliefs are delivered over time and circumstance. And what that means is once you establish some new thought patterns and you actually start to percolate new beliefs into your subconscious mind, I don't know when and I don't know how, but those beliefs will be delivered whenever they're delivered and however they're delivered. I can't predict how it's going to happen, the circumstances, the people. Nobody can predict that. I can't predict when it's going to happen. Because as you're going to learn, mind is its own thing. It's its own intelligent essence, and it does what it does when it does it and how it does it. We can't control how mind delivers these beliefs to us, but I do know when you start changing your beliefs, you'll start to notice in time and circumstance differences. You'll notice changes not only in yourself but in the outer world and as it comes to you. Now, this is really important, that your thoughts, when you support them by habit, doing the same thing over and over again, your thoughts, when supported by habit, will always manifest. So it's 2 things. Number 1 is thought, and then number 2, supporting action. Thought and action, thought and habit. Now, you don't notice that this is always happening. You don't notice that your beliefs are being delivered to you. You don't notice it because you're in your comfort zone. Your subconscious thoughts and beliefs haven't changed in years, decades. You're only going to notice this when you start to change or disrupt your subconscious. When you poke the bear, when you wake up your subconscious, you're going to start to notice changes. You don't see the changes every day because you're inside, your subconscious isn't changing. But now we're going to go in, we're going to drill into the subconscious, we're going to add very specific thoughts and beliefs, your own abundance blueprint, not mine, whatever's important to you, and you're going to start to disrupt subconscious, disrupt your comfort zone, and you're going to start to notice how these beliefs are now delivered, how your circumstances start to change. But one fair warning, this only works with consistent effort over time. You have to do this work every day. Because why? It has to become subconscious. And it has to, and as I say in the cycle of mind, mind operates in rhythms and cycles. So the first time you do something that's good, you need to do it again and again and again. And gradually you're building that impression into subconscious mind. So be prepared, just like brushing your teeth and taking a shower and shopping and cooking and cleaning. This is now something, this work on your subconscious is something you're going to be doing every day. James Allen, really the father of you'd call it New Age thinking or becoming a conscious creator, the working with subconscious mind. In 1902, it's one of my favorite quotes. We're just going to read it, then I'll go through the pieces. Mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance. And as we have hitherto woven in ignorance and pain, we may now weave in enlightenment and purpose. So he gives us the image of a weaver, like a loom or someone who's making a quilt or some sewing in some way. Mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character. So your mind, your thoughts determine the quality of your character, the values and the principles that you stand for. That comes from your thoughts and your beliefs. Mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance. And as we may have hitherto woven in ignorance and pain, we may now weave in enlightenment and purpose. In other words, we can use mind for our own purpose. We can direct mind to the purpose that we want, to our own desires. It's a beautiful quote. And again, it's over 100 years old. I'm going to give you a more modern quote. This one's probably from the late 1980s, early 1990s. A gentleman by the name of T. Harv Eker. He wrote a book. One day I'll make a video about it, called the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Now, he doesn't talk about subconscious. He relates mind and training your mind to making money, but still all the principles in this book are exactly the same types of principles that we're talking about. Listen to this quote, especially the first line. Training and managing your own mind is the most important skill. Repeat. Training and managing your own mind is the most important skill. Very few, hardly anybody in our society intentionally trains and manages their own mind. And I'm going to show you with these tools how to train and manage your own mind. It's the most important skill you could ever have in terms of both happiness and success. T. Harv Eker. Now, I want to introduce you to another great thinker. He was born in the 1870s, I believe, and wrote most of his work in the early 1900s. This is from a book in 1910 called The Science of Success by Wallace Wattles. I've summarized or picked out the key points for you from this book. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance. There's no limit to the supply of this original substance. So just by way of pausing here for a second, he uses the term original substance. You'll also hear him use the term formless substance. You'll also hear him use the term intelligent substance or thinking stuff. All that I bundle under the word mind, in particular subconscious mind. It's invisible. We don't see it. It's unlimited. It's infinite. Everything you see on earth is made from this original substance, from mind. There's no limit to the supply of this original substance. Then he goes on. New forms are constantly being created by this formless substance, and old forms are constantly dissolving. So new things are happening all the time. New circumstances are constantly being created. New energy patterns, new everything new is constantly being created. And old forms are constantly dissolving. This thinking stuff, he says, shapes itself around the vibrational patterns of our thoughts. Think about that. Man alone can control it. Let's pause here. This thinking stuff, subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it, formless substance, original substance, this thinking stuff shapes itself around the vibrational patterns of our thoughts. Man alone can control it. This formless stuff is intelligent and seeks only to create. In the same way that the thinking stuff in your body works in magical harmony to make you healthy. So your body is made of mind. It's made of this stuff. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, and so are you. You're no different. This body that we have is miraculous in its complexity. We take it for granted, right? But this body is extraordinarily complex, and it's always healing itself. It's always healthy. The systems communicate with each other seamlessly. You don't have to think about it. It's doing its own healing. It works in health. It works to keep you health. So in the same way that the thinking stuff in your body works to harmonize and makes you healthy all the time, in that same way, this formless stuff is intelligent and seeks only to create. And what does it create? It creates around the vibrational pattern of your thoughts. Then he goes on to say, there is no lack. You're not kept poor by lack of riches, but by ignorance of the fact that you control this limitless supply. See, no one has ever explained to us how powerful our thinking is. Words come out of our mouth, negative think, oh, I'm not good at this. I can't do that. I can't do this. All of this is coming out of your subconscious. The words that come out of your mouth, your body language, every little thing about your life is controlled by your subconscious. So that's what your life is, and the universe around you is forming the experiences exactly as you ask for them in your subconscious. Now, why would we limit ourselves? Why would we make ourselves less than we could be? Because we don't know we're doing it. It's all subconscious. Subconscious. We're not even aware of it. There is no lack in this world. You're not kept poor by lack of riches, but by ignorance of the fact that you control this limitless supply. That's Wallace Wattles. And I like him because he's a little bit more scientific, a little bit less flowery, and a little bit right to the point. And I really like that about Wallace Wattles. So what I'm going to share with you is the abundance blueprint. And there are 3 steps to the abundance blueprint, and you'll see that you can apply this abundance blueprint to anything. Personal issues, family issues, relationship issues, business, education, government, you name it. You can apply this abundance blueprint to anything, and it requires that you do 3 things. Number 1 is you have to take control of whatever it is you want to fix. So if we use health as an example, nobody's walking around with a magic wand trying to make you healthier. If you want to be healthier, if you're this healthy and you want to be this healthy, it doesn't just happen by snapping your fingers. You have to be self-reliant. You have to take control. You have to take responsibility for your own health, right? And how do you do that? Well, the next 2 steps talk about how you do that. The second step, once you say, hey, I'm in charge, look, I'm serious. I'm going to fix this problem, health problem, relationship problem, business problem, whatever it might be. I'm in charge. I'm self-reliant. That's step 1. Step 2 is you have to become a little mini expert. You have to learn as much as you can and gain knowledge and develop a plan based on that knowledge and information. So learn, gain knowledge, and develop a plan. Not my plan, not anybody else's plan, but a unique plan that you feel comfortable with. How would you learn and gain knowledge? I would just go on YouTube. Let's say you want to become healthier. Well, let's narrow it down. Let's say you want to build more muscle. Or let's say you want more flexibility. You want to, stretch and have more flexibility. Well, go watch 20 YouTube videos on stretching and say, oh, that's a good idea. Write that one down. Watch another video. Take an idea from that and build your own personal plan. Now, the third element of the abundance blueprint is the key. And nothing works if you don't do the third one. You have to develop new habits to support your plan. You can't just have a plan. You have to take action. Not just action, but continued action until they become a habit. Now, I started the abundance blueprint. I sell life insurance, so I would meet with clients, and I created this abundance blueprint. Look, it's time for you to take control of your money. You have to understand how money works. I want you to take control. Stop putting your money off, because most people don't like dealing with their money, so I don't like dealing with that. It's too confusing. I don't want to deal with it. Well, number 1, no one else cares about your money, so you have to take control. You have to become self-reliant. Then I would give them knowledge. This is how rich people think about money. money. Most people don't know how rich people really think about money. But when you learn how they think about it, it's pretty cool. So learn, gain knowledge, and now you develop your own personal financial plan. And then thirdly, most importantly, you have to establish new financial habits to support your financial plan. And I was doing this with clients, and then one day, like a bolt of lightning, hey, wait a minute. I can apply this same sequence to any problem that I have, and not even a problem, any new thing I want to attain, any new habit I want to create, anything. I have to become self-reliant, have to study, learn, gain new knowledge, and develop a plan, and then establish new habits to support the plan. Does that make sense? Now, let me explain why this works. The first thing you have to do is you have to use the abundance blueprint for one small change. If I say, oh, I want to be healthier, that's too broad. What do you mean by healthier? Oh, I want to eat better. Too broad. What do you mean by eat better? Oh, I want to stop eating sugar. Bingo. That's one small change we can make. Now, to people that have a sugar addiction, I had a sugar addiction. I solved it using the abundance blueprint, which I'm going to share with you today. For people that have a sugar addiction, stopping sugar it's a small change, but it's impossible. I've tried thousands of times to stop eating sugar. It's always at the last bite of my Breyer's ice cream, licking the spoon. Oh, I'm not going to eat any more sugar. Then, of course, it just cycles again. I was able to quit sugar, but the abundance blueprint works when you focus your mind on one small change. The smaller, the better. Doesn't even have to be hard. It could be an easy change. Sugar is a more difficult change. One small change that has a huge payoff in your life. And I think you can see how stopping sugar would have a huge health payoff. The second reason why the abundance blueprint works is because it combines intention, knowledge, and action to produce results. Intention. I am going to take control of this. I'm self-reliant. It's me. I'm going to solve the problem. I intend to solve the problem. Number two, I'm going to do research. I'm going to become an expert, and I'm going to develop a plan based on knowledge. And then finally, I'm going to take action, and I'm going to take action on a regular basis until those new actions become subconscious habits. The third reason the abundance blueprint works is because it uses images. Mind is nonverbal. It listens to your words, but it's not anywhere near as powerful as putting a picture in your mind. And these three circles, very simple picture, but very powerful because you literally can look at this, write all this down, write your blueprint down, and that image can blend or merge directly into your being, directly into your subconscious. And the fourth reason it works is it forces you to pay attention to the problem and the solution. You're not going to take new actions and develop new habits just by writing it down once. You have to pay attention to this abundance blueprint for several days, but it works in days. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take decades to see results. It works very quickly, sometimes in hours, sometimes immediately. Some people will see immediate changes. Some people will wake up the next morning and everything has changed. Other people will see changes in a matter of a few days. So it works very quickly because you're putting your full focus and attention of your mind onto this new task. And mind, if you focus on it seriously, mind will start paying attention and it starts to percolate into your being. In a few days and weeks, it becomes subconscious. And all of a sudden now, whatever problem you had is past. It's gone. Whatever new habit you wanted to create is now a new habit. You can literally change your life by using this abundance blueprint. So here are some guidelines as you use the abundance blueprint. Number one, choose something that's narrow in scope, like quitting sugar as an example, with a high payoff. Right? If it's a relationship thing, it could be one small, let's say husband and wife. Choose one little thing that you want to improve in that relationship, one small little thing that will pay off for the rest of that relationship, for the rest of your lives together. So one small little change with a big payoff. That's what you're going to want to create an abundance blueprint for. If it involves, I just talked about relationship, if it involves more than one person, so it could be a relationship, it could be a family, it could be a business or a large company. If it involves more than one person, everyone must do the abundance blueprint together. Everyone's got to be on the same page, have the same intention. The only other way it's going to work, the third element of what you have to do to make this work, is your life has to be in balance. That's why I teach the meditation class, to find your own balance, to find a sense of inner peace. When you are balanced, all of this change is beautiful change. When you're out of balance and you start to change things, all that change just makes you more out of balance. It doesn't really feel good. It just feels very disruptive. But if you're balanced, if you have a very strong sense of balance and all these changes start happening, you can absorb it in a balanced way. The fourth thing you have to do to make the abundance blueprint work, and this is non-negotiable, you must have accountability. You've got to be part of a community. You have to have an accountability partner. You have to do it together with somebody else. Now, why do you need a community? Well, number one, as I just said, to hold you accountable. It's much more likely that you'll succeed in this task if you're accountable to someone, if you're reporting back every day on your successes and your struggles. That's one part of it. But the other part of being accountable and being part of a community is actually the more important part. Being part of a community, having an accountability partner, lets you learn how to give to other people, how to help other people. So you're doing this for yourself, but you're also doing it to help the next person. It gives you an opportunity to learn, I guess, the enlightened skill of cooperation. That's a multiplier. When you cooperate with other people, when you connect with other people and help each other, that makes both of you rise much faster. And you can go much further in your development if you're with other people of like mind. And the fifth one is you have to rewrite your abundance blueprint every morning and every night. And it continues to grow. As you develop it today, this is a starting point. Tomorrow, you may have some more ideas. You may watch another good YouTube video. There's another idea. I'm going to add this to my blueprint. Here's another habit I'm going to create, right? So it's never finished. It's just never finished. You have to keep researching it every day and rewriting it every day. In other words, pay attention to it. Make it important. Elevate it so that your mind is focused on it and that all of this picture and these words can merge into your subconscious. This is the best way to make it work. Do all these 5 things. Narrow the scope. Don't pick something too broad, and not just a narrow thing, but something that's really important, has a high payoff. If it involves more than just you, you've got to get everybody together on the same blueprint. Your life must first be in balance. Trust me, if you're not in balance, this isn't going to bring you in balance. This is going to make you disrupt, and it's going to get you more out of balance. You need an accountability partner. You need surround yourself with uplifting people who want to help you on the journey. And you have to do this every single day so that mind learns that, yeah, I'm serious about this. I know I said it yesterday, but I'm saying it again today. And I'm saying it again tonight. And I'm going to say the same thing to you tomorrow. This is what I want to be. In order to manifest, you have to be consistent. All right, so we're going to go into breakout sessions. I'm going to take one group and I'm going to work on developing an abundance blueprint specifically for reducing your sugar intake, so eliminating any added sugar. I'll do an abundance blueprint for that. And then in the breakout sessions, I'll pop in and I'll help you each with your own abundance blueprint. So work with somebody else, get an accountability partner. If it's the sugar thing, then you're going to work with some other people that are doing sugar. If it's a relationship issue, if it's a personal issue, a spiritual issue, a development issue, whatever it might be, find an accountability partner. I'll put you guys into breakout sessions. And then on the back end, we'll come back and I'll have a couple of different messages for you to close it off. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So now I want to share with you this very, very important message. The reason you focus on a small thing, there's a lot of power in focusing on one small change. You don't want to try to change everything. That's impossible. And you're just it's too much. Focus on one small thing, but that has extraordinary value because if you keep the focus small, you will succeed. Because it's easy to succeed because you're only focusing on changing one thing. And when you start to change that one thing, you kind of wake yourself up off of autopilot. You wake yourself up off of the matrix. And once you wake up off the matrix and now you're in charge and you've solved or you're on the path to solving this one problem, like for example, I don't eat sugar anymore, all of a sudden, all the other areas of your life start to control. You know why that is? Because it's not about quitting sugar. It's not about the one small thing you talked about that you built into your blueprint. It's not about that. That's the one manifestation you're going to see, but that's not the point. The point is, once you make that change, now you have a new experience, a new power, a new ability to be self-reliant, to research and develop a plan, and to establish new habits that push you out of your comfort zone. This is a tool, and now you have a tool to self-change. This tool, this self-change tool, now can be applied to everything in your life, anything, even things outside of, even outer things. It's not the thing you changed, it's the skills that you've picked up in doing that change. Does that make sense? It's really important. And really importantly, working with others in a community and with an accountability partner, it unleashes the power of enlightened cooperation. We can do so much more together. As I talked about last week, we talked about group manifestation. We can do so much more together than we can each one doing our own little individual thing in our own world. If we start to pull together, we don't all have to be working on the same journey, but we're all journeying together, helping each other. So working with others unleashes a massive power of enlightened cooperation. And once you make this one change, let me just give you an example. When you say I stop eating sugar, you know what happens? All of a sudden now you start to become aware of all the other foods you eat. And instead of eating processed foods, now you're going to start to eat more vegetables. Then you're going to start to wonder, where do these vegetables come from? Do you go to a corporate supermarket that gives you plastic vegetables that have been genetically modified? Or do you start to say, where does this broccoli come from? And you start to look at different markets, like the farmer's market, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. You start to look at different sources of food. So now all of a sudden you're changing what you're buying and where you're buying. And that starts to get you on a thought process where now you can start planning your meals. And that allows you to be a smarter shopper, because now I'm not shopping for no reason. I'm shopping for these meals. I'm buying my broccoli from Trader Joe's. I'm buying my milk from here. I'm buying this from that. I'm buying this from that. And not only are you planning your meals, but now you're starting to budget. You're starting to save money. This one small change of changing sugar starts to change the way you approach food. It changes your whole relationship with food. So that's how, when I mean it spreads, then that change about your awareness of food becomes an awareness of your inner health. And now you start to become more aware of your health. And awareness of health starts to now give you more inner peace. And that inner peace starts to change the way you think about your relationships. And everything, you build a cyclone, a tornado that starts from the tiniest little seed. I'm not going to eat sugar anymore, to all of a sudden, now you're more aware. See, once you're off the matrix, once you pull yourself out of the matrix and wake yourself up and say, hey, that was easy. I stopped eating sugar. All of a sudden, all parts of your life come into your control. And what happens was when that starts happening, abundance comes very, very quickly after that. So you can, like a lot of people say, oh, I've been in therapy for 20 years. Well, you've been in therapy for 20 years. You're going to be in therapy for the rest of your life, because all they're doing is talking about an old problem. You're never moving forward. And if you do move forward, you don't have a blueprint. Well, now forget the past. I know it's bad. The trauma is bad. I get that. But focusing on the trauma isn't going to change your future. Only by picking one small change, learning the skills of self-reliance, planning, and basically disrupting yourself out of your comfort zone. Once you learn those three skills, now you can change anything, and you can start to envision a better, a more abundant future for yourself. If all you do is focus 100% of your time, which a lot of people feel very comfortable with their trauma, they feel very comfortable in their pain and reliving all that, and it's just become who they are, right? That doesn't solve anything. And when you're nice to somebody who's in trauma, oh, it's okay. A lot of people feel that. I felt that too, a little bit at a time. When you're nice to someone who's focused on the past, all you're doing is reinforcing their comfort level with focusing on the past. So what you need is a little tough love. Let's look at the future instead. If you could change one small thing, what would you want to change? Oh, that? Great. Let's build an abundance blueprint for that, because it's not about changing that. It's about changing you. It's about giving you new skills, new experiences, new abilities. And those new skills and abilities, when you're surrounded by a community and supported, allow you to make changes in every aspect of your life. You're going to solve whatever problem you want to solve tonight. That'll be solved within a few days. And you'll immediately realize what I'm saying. Oh, yeah, I could apply this to everything. That's the point. You want to build a cyclone, a hurricane that gets bigger and bigger and encompasses more and more areas of your life. That's how you build abundance, from one small thing, from the specific out to everything. Now, this is really important. You want to bring balance to all parts of your life. So here I show you, you can start anywhere that's most important to you. If, for example, no sugar, that's a health thing. If you want to use an abundance blueprint to build a really solid meditation practice, you put your spiritual in the center. It doesn't matter what's in the center. It doesn't matter where you start. The goal is to bring that balance and self-reliance and control to all the important areas of your life. That includes your health, your spiritual life, money, your finances, your career, your family, establishing purpose and meaning in your life. Once you can do it to one part of your life, you can do it to all parts of your life. And my favorite quotes is pretty soon your life is going to be so good, you're going to forget that it was ever bad. Pretty soon your life is going to be so good that you're going to forget it was ever bad. That's what reaching toward abundance will bring to you. When you do this work, it's more than just the abundance blueprint. As Lu Dongbin says in The Secret of the Golden Flower, don't start this work unless you have a full heart, unless you really intend to change everything in your life. He says, begin with a full heart. And that's what I tell you. Begin with a full heart. Tonight, we're talking about abundance blueprint. Last week, we talked about balance. You've got to be balanced. That's a really important focus in your life. That's an everyday thing. You're always going to have to be coming back to your balance and your inner peace. That's the most important thing. That's where everything begins. From there, what are the things I want to change in my life? Oh, I want to stop eating sugar. Let me build an abundance blueprint for that. And the only way the abundance blueprint works is with accountability and community. So you see that these three things work together. None of them are in isolation. You can balance yourself all you want, but your life is still unhappy because you're not looking forward, you're looking backwards. It's about balancing your life, taking a forward look at your life, creating your own vision of abundance, and then being accountable and part of a community that lifts you up and supports you. We cannot do this work by ourselves. We must do it together. So these are the three elements that we need. So in last week, we talked about the meditation practice and establishing balance. And every week, we're going to teach that meditation class again. So if you want, you can take it as many times as you want. I want you there every week. It's a great way to start off your Sunday. And hopefully, we'll get lots of new people into that class. Then once they start establishing balance, which doesn't take long, once you start establishing balance in your life, then you can start focusing on specific things that you want to improve. And all of those together with a community, it's a beautiful experience. So this is all available to you. We're moving forward. We're not going backwards. We're not having a pity party about how sad life is and how sad I am and I'll never do. Forget that. Find your inner peace, be happy, pick something you want to improve, and watch how it expands to all areas of your life, and then share that abundance, share that joy, share that energy, share that light with other people. That's the secret formula to make this work. Now, I know everyone's getting a little itchy here. You want to go? One last thing. Today, we created a blueprint for you, for your personal change, for your personal manifestation. And that's what it's for. This is to help you become a better version of yourself, the best version you can imagine. You just keep putting more abundant things, more amazing things into this blueprint. It burns into your mind. It becomes subconscious. And all of a sudden, your life rises and rises and rises higher and higher toward abundance and enlightenment and happiness. Great. That's what I want for you. So we did an abundance blueprint for you. But we'll also use this same process, this same abundance blueprint for higher level group manifestation. So it ties in with what we talked about last week. We talked about group manifestation being far more powerful. See, together, you've got your power, I've got my power, she's got her power, he's got his power, and we're all off in our little isolated containers. When we come together as a group, and we start to think about what we can accomplish as a group, and we start putting that into an abundance blueprint, and we start putting that into our minds, all of a sudden those amazing group things start to happen. So don't just think of this as just you in isolation and your own personal development. That's a part of it. But the second part of it, which is just as important as the first, is this group manifestation, applying these same principles of self-reliance, research and planning, and establishing new habits as a group. See, what's better than being part of a winning team? Have you ever been on a winning team? You ever been on a championship team? It's the greatest feeling in the world. I play tennis. It feels really good to win a tennis match. But you know what feels even better? Winning a baseball game or a softball game, winning a football game. I used to play ice hockey, winning a hockey game. It's the ultimate team effort. Being part of a team lifts you up in ways that you can never experience as an individual. So you want to, first of all, improve your own life, get yourself in balance, get yourself pointed in a direction toward abundance, but you also want to be part of the community. And in this community, as we grow, we will be able to accomplish extraordinary things. Trust me and be part of it. So I want to leave you with, this is, most people who've never been to New York City don't realize that this is Central Park. It's gigantic. It's this beautiful, I grew up in New York, so I know about Central Park. I used to play softball there and, went on dates there, went to the Central Park Zoo. So I'm familiar with it. It's a little utopia inside of the busiest city in the universe, New York. I mean, more money flows, but it's just so much noise, so much effort. There's Broadway and Wall Street and so many things going on in New York. It's the busiest city in the world. And yet inside this city is a bubble of utopia. That's the same thing that we have to do in our enlightenment studies. You have to build a bubble around, look, the outer world is chaotic. It's always been chaotic, and it's not going to get less chaotic. The outer world is chaotic, but we who are studying enlightenment have to develop the ability to build an enlightened bubble amidst all the chaos that surrounds us. And the easiest way to build that bubble, I've built my enlightenment bubble. If you want to build yours, it's easier to come inside mine, and now it's our bubble. And then we invite him, now it's our bubble, and her, and her, and her, all of us bigger and bigger. And as I said, we actually will gain power as we get more people, and it becomes easier and easier and easier for the next person, enlightenment. So enlightenment is about building a bubble, but again, don't go off and try to do it yourself. Well, do that if you want. But if you really want, come into our bubble and make this experience bigger and bigger and better. And as I said last week, this isn't easy. Doing this enlightenment teachings remotely on Zoom, not easy. Because as soon as you X out, you go back into whatever chaotic world you came from. And, all these things are happening. You have to actually work. You have to actually, when you X out of this Zoom meeting, you have to write down your abundance blueprint. You got to go and, read the cycle of mind. You got to study this. And I can't do it for you. The best way to do this is to get you together for a week or a month or 3 months. Then we can really move forward, because I would control your time and what you eat and, who you talk with and breakout sessions. We can't do that. You have to take initiative. When you're learning remotely, it requires, first of all, the teacher be clear in what its expectation, but you have to take initiative. Remote learning is not easy. The second thing is you need a coach. You need a teacher. The third thing is you need accountability and you need community. You can't do it on your own. So there's the link to I'll put this in the chat. There's the link to our thinking community, our enlightenment community. And with that, I will leave it at that. I'll honor our time together tonight. And I'll stay and answer any questions you have. But in the meantime, let me just say, for those of you, I know it's time, so for those of you that got to go, thank you so much for being here, so much for being part of this, for making this part of your tonight. And just up the good work. Check in with the community tonight. Let us know how it's going, how you enjoyed the class. Check in with the community tomorrow. How did you do? What's your plan for tomorrow? Check in tomorrow night, the next morning, here's what I did. Here's what I succeeded at. Make sure that you continue to take initiative, stay busy, stay with this work, and most importantly, keep your mind focused on this work so that it starts to percolate in and become subconscious. So with that, thank you all. Love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you next week, if not sooner.